My name is Jeff Crane. I work for the Andover Company in Seattle, Washington. You have to be creative, quite frankly, is you have to look past. I love looking past, for instance, buildings that are obsolete and trying to figure out a way to make them useful. I can give you an example of a building or a deal that we did on a building that was a second generation building in Seattle. It was obsolete and really not useful for much of anything. But what we did is I went to the landlord and we showed them that if they hired an architect to come up with an artist rendition of what the building would actually look like when it was completely done, by tearing off, we had to tear off part of the building, and that part of it made it obsolete. We tore that part of the building off, we created a few dock doors, and we came up with an artist rendition. You do that so that we can actually use that in our marketing materials. And then you go get a contractor to give you an idea what that cost would be to actually do that work, or ballpark. And then what you do is you go out and market that. And you'd be surprised what kind of people show up when in the past they'd look at that building and say, well, I'd never lease that building, it just doesn't work. But now you show them what could happen, and now they're interested. And in that situation, the landlord ended up having to take a loan out for $1 million. But we showed him how the e-commerce tenants tend to pay quite a bit more for that space because it's just in high demand. The vacancy is 2%. And so we showed him that the rental that he would get was a lot more than his loan payment was going to be. His loan payment was only going to be for 5 years. The tenant leased the space for 10, and the tenant, in addition to that, put a boatload of money into the building himself. So at the end of the day, even if the tenant left in 10 years, his building now became a modern building when it used to be a secondhand, unreliable and obsolete building.